This is Jonah Hill, and you're listening to the only podcast that matters.
Bro Gang, we are joined by the Titan of Turtles, Baron of Bensonhurst, the Don Dada of driving people around, His Honor of the Hero, the EP MVP, the Admiral of Avion, lead singer of Anta, Rage Against the Machine, fighting the Battle of Los Angeles, Rooster in my rah-rah, the Gabagool Governor, hey, he's making sandwiches over here, the Wizard of Weed Carriers, the Prince of Poppin' Tires, the Medellin Maestro, the Bagman with the bags, man. How can one man have all that power? Actor and executive producer, Jerry Ferrara. Jerry, how the hell are you?
Jeez, I could retire after that intro right there. I mean, you summed up my whole career in 35 seconds.
We could put that on your IMDb if you'd like.
Please, word for word. I want to just break as my bio. I want that is what I want.
Jerry, we're so excited to have you. The first thing we want to do is a little fit check where you're going to walk the audience at home through the totality of your outfit. And maybe we should include the chair you're sitting on because you did do a nice little Herman Miller name drop earlier before we hit record.
I did. I name dropped you. We were talking about just the unnecessary purchases that to make the setup better. I am also a gamer, full disclosure. Mm-hmm. So between doing a lot of Zooms, yes, I sprung for the Herman Miller.
Yeah,
chair,
baby.
Yo, that's just self-care, you know? That's just taking care of the old back.
Literally for the spine, yeah.
And I will say, when you get to be old, you guys are young. When you get to be my age, right? The lower back stuff is real. Like one day you'll wake up at around 38 and just be like, oh, my lower back doesn't work. It's over.
Right,
my back is gone.
15 years, I'll wake up with that. All right, cool.
We're also not young at all, but we appreciate the pandering, Jerry.
Listen,
we have filters on the Zoom. We have the face filters on the Zoom.
If you're 2 years younger than me, I will reference you as kid. Hey, kid. It's
okay.
I'm 39 years old. You're calling me kid.
That's the Brooklyn in you, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Boss,
so yeah,
boss,
the chair,
boss, what's good?
The chair is the chair is a thing. I have to do it. As far as the fit today, do
you want to start top down or do you want to go bottom up?
I'm gonna go top down, and being that I'm from Brooklyn, first of all, top down because the haircut. See, Brooklyn in the 90s, right? Growing up as a kid, it was all about top and bottom. The middle wasn't as important.
Okay, interesting.
Your haircut had to be right, and then like my mom always said too, and I don't know if this is even true, but she said you gotta have clean shoes. Women always look at a guy's shoes.
That sounds right.
Dirty or kind of like. I don't know if that still holds up today. Since 1993.
Well, in terms of this podcast and what we know about our listenership, a lot of guys are looking at your shoes as well. So
that's sort of what it's become. But so I did get a fresh cut the other day. The fade is almost high and tight. I'm hanging on to my hairline too.
It looks good, dude. That's a strong ass hairline, bro.
Was it tough? Was it tough going?
It's getting a little, it's getting a little light, and I'm short, so that sucks. But
was it tough going from Brooklyn to LA and now Ohio, like finding a good barber? Every time you relocate?
Yes. And I still I'm still
nightmare.
I'm still in Brooklyn like all the time, but the barber is just everything. It's part of for me, it's part of my routine. I'm like an every 2 week guy. I used to be an every week guy. I'm an every 2 week guy. It's part of the outfit. Yeah. It's part of getting dressed. Like it just fits. So going top to bottom, good fade. I have on like a very light breathing Gant button down, which
nice. Okay.
It just breathes. It's comfortable for the Zooms. I am wearing
Gant's a standby. Gant's a good one. Yeah.
This is a strong flex right here. I do have the Batman Rolex on.
The GMT,
which I got before it was cool. I got it like years ago now. Like these things have gone through the roof, but I've had this for a minute, and I feel like I would bust it out for you guys.
Thank you so much. As a fellow Rolex owner and wearer, I really appreciate it, Jerry.
We could get into the watches if you like. Which
and now you can. If you need a better chair, you can always just resell it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Exactly. I do.
My man's got 50 chairs on the wrist, ladies and gentlemen.
I do have to check what jeans I'm wearing. I'm not sure, but I do have my Patrick Ewing Stance socks on.
Okay.
On for the hometown.
I did take my shoes off because it's some carpet in here, but I did have on Jordan cement 3s. The 88s.
Oh, nice.
I did have those on.
Classic.
They're right out there. So that's really what I had going on.
Well, Jerry, lest we forget, what are the panties today?
Yeah.
Under the jeans.
I got to check, by the way. I got to check the jeans. I'm not going to lie. I threw these on. Oh, good. I can't see. The
as long as they're clean, right?
They're clean. We will get. Listen, I might have to run out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to make Jerry undress on pod. So
I will check and get before the pod's over. We will know the jeans.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to put on for New York now that you're like no longer here? I mean, yeah, you're here all the time, but like when you're back, when you're home, do you feel like you have to represent harder?
Yes. The hurdle that and this is literally an ongoing thing that's happening right now. And obviously, like I think like some people struggled as well with the pandemic of like, holy shit, I don't leave the house anymore. But now I'm starting to leave a little more. But also as a father now of a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, right? I'm 2 years old and 4-month-old. Like whatever I wear is gonna get trashed.
Right, just covered in human shit,
roasted and toasted. Yeah,
you got shit, spit up, various food, dirt, snot, like whatever.
Sounds like a fire Friday night, to be honest.
So, yeah, I really kind of save nowadays. It's post kids asleep. Maybe me and my wife are actually going out, and that's where I'm like, okay, I could put on like real human clothes now.
Right. Right. Everything else has to be spit proof, shit proof.
Or just something expendable. Something you're not emotional about. Like,
right,
oh,
sure.
not you didn't know.
Are you emotional about like probably your sneakers for sure, right? But anything else that you have that is like a grail for you?
Sneakers and watches for sure, but man, I just like a fucking like if you got the right t-shirt, you guys know what I'm saying. Like it doesn't even necessarily matter the brand. Like if it's the one that fits you, like for me, I need something. I don't like wide neck. Sure. I need like a fitted neck, fitted on top, but then you gotta flare out a little bit to cover the dad bod, like just a little bit
to get money tummy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so the workouts where I'm just doing like chest and tries, and I'm ignoring my core, still looks good.
All chest, no legs, no core, nothing. Yeah. Just the glamour muscles.
So when the kids are in bed, you ever bust out the Fukijama AF1s?
So I almost wore the gold ones from the show, which for those listening, like I think there was 6 made in total, one for each of the cast members. And I think one for each of our 2 producers. But the ones that were actually on the show that the turtle character's holding, I had, those are in my house.
Those are in your size too. Like you could wear them.
Oh yeah. Those are 9.5. Like, and that's like my size. Like I'm 10 in Jordans. Right. Sometimes I'll be 9.5 in some air. It's 9.5. Perfect. I was going to wear them to the Entourage movie premiere in LA. So this is like 2014. I'm like, if there's ever a time to wear these, now would be it. And I totally punked it. I mean, I even had it down. So like I was going to wear them on the red carpet, take my photos or whatever, go into the theater. And then when I got to the after party where there's like 700 people stepping all over you, I was going to have a friend meet me and smuggle them back home. Right. Because I did not think they were ready for a party like that. That's a
bit like a turtle-like job, having a friend meet you just so you can switch the sneakers out.
And then the other problem is all my friends were coming to the premiere. Right. At the end of the day, did not have anyone to do the job that I trusted.
What was the red carpet fit? Was it like a Nietzsche sweatsuit?
No. I think it was, God, this is a long time ago. I want to say it was like a dark blue Xenia suit. I think.
Very nice. Classic.
Blanking on the shoes. I have them. I'd have to go look. But yeah, I mean, this is 7 years ago. So
when was the last time you wear the Fujis? The Fukijamas. When was the last time you wore the Fukijamas?
The Fuji Force Ones, dude.
The golds have never touched the ground.
Wow.
Before.
Never touched grass. Yeah.
Never touched anything. I do have from that episode, there was the light blue ones in the actual episode. My character got shut out of those and then paid $20,000. Well, Vince paid $20,000 for the golds. They made about 600 of the powder blue ones.
Oh, wow.
And there's a good fake imitation brand out there that I know some people are trying to like, I could tell right away that they're fake, but I wore those, which I didn't even want to wear those. I wore those courtside to a Knicks game once and got a lot of love.
I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time you're on the Jumbotron, the whole fucking garden goes crazy.
Yeah, it goes wild.
Which if you would have told 10-year-old me that, I would have been like, well, it's probably because they're trying to kick me out of the place or something. Like I probably ran on the court as like a streaker. That's what I would have guessed at 10 years old, how I got on the Jumbotron.
Has anyone offered you like a crazy amount of money for those like forces from the show?
Yes.
I mean, 6 pairs and like 10, it's an iconic thing, you know?
I think 10 years ago, I was offered like $75,000.
What?
And then there was a story that kind of got picked up a little bit. God, what's the auction house? Sotheby's I think auctioned off a pair. So one of the 6, right? We don't know who's are. I have my thoughts.
Kevin Connolly, you're on fucking notice. What was the size? You could tell by the size. You could probably figure
there's
it out.
another way you could tell, because each of the shoes, Mark Smith, the artist who collaborated with Nike to make them, used laser technology to burn into the leather. You know, when he made those shoes, he basically called me up and he does like a 5-minute interview. He asks you like the most random questions, right? Like, what was your address growing up?
Okay.
Who was your favorite bass? And
like a psychic.
All that stuff is actually written out in the shoe in this crazy kind of memento code tattoo. Right. But it does all say our names, but you would not be able to look at it and say, oh, that says Jerry. Right. But I can.
Interesting.
So I think I do know whose shoe it is. I think it just went for 90 at Sotheby's, 90K.
Yeah. Wow.
Adrian Grenier, man. Falling on hard times.
Whoever it is. I mean, it's a short list of scammers.
Could be. You never know. But I can, and they verified, obviously, that that is one of the 6.
Amazing. Well.
Not mine, though. Mine are in the closet.
Someone was strapped for cash, I guess. You know, they were in between jobs.
Someone didn't get that roll of power.
Or they were just like, I don't know, but they don't care about shoes like I do. They're like, well, I got 90 grand sitting on the shelf. I could go build a pool with that money or something. Like, I'm never going to touch those shoes ever.
Not even for $250K. Right now, on the spot, someone offered you that money.
That's some good college money for the kids.
Okay, I guess your kids ain't going to state school, dude.
They start their own business.
Right.
Start your own business.
All right, we got 2 future Buckeyes in the Ferrara crib. All right, Jerry, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast. I want to set a little scene here. The year is 2007. Entourage, biggest fucking phenomenon in the world. Season 4, episode 11. What was it like shooting a scene with Kanye West?
Kanye Omari West.
So back then, right, that was the fun part about Entourage, where we started to really get established with the cameos, where like, I remember, every night you leave work, they give you the call sheet for the next day. And it would be like, okay, so tomorrow we got Jessica Alba's coming in the morning. And then we got Kevin Durant's coming in the afternoon. And then we're shooting a night scene with like Kanye or something. So that day, when we knew Kanye was doing the episode, it was cool because it was also timing out with the release of Good Life, right?
Yeah.
Good Life.
Yeah, because that was that was the rollout for Graduation, which came out that year. Yeah.
When he took on 50 Cent.
Yeah, right. He went head to head
20 years ago, or like 10 years ago today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I remember also seeing like how a music marketing machine kind of works, of like, all right, so I guess we did become popular for our end credit songs, right? And this was going to be the end credit song. And
shout out
came
Scott
in.
Denier.
Yeah. And he could not be more like down to act. Like he was super into it and like kind of a perfectionist about it, but really just kind of had fun. It was a great day.
Was he trying to edit the scene after it had already aired on HBO? Like it's a fucking, Donda album?
No, that's the thing. Like, I know, not as memory serves me correct. He came in and was very much like loved the show, happy to be doing this. I think this is actually a cool scene. And it was really about the song, and I do think that's one of the better end credit songs, just like when you think about the moment and that album.
Oh, it's iconic, right? That's the first time that anyone heard the first whatever couple, bars of Good Life. I mean, like that.
And
was
obviously I'm biased when I hear that song today. If it comes on somewhere, I immediately go back to a time capsule. I could close my eyes now and see us. I believe we're at Van Nuys Airport. I could even see Sidney Pollack, legendary director, was in that scene, which in itself was also a weird, Sidney Pollack and Kanye. Well, that's an interesting call sheet. So
Kanye's kind of like the Sidney Pollack of rap, though. So it kind of makes sense.
And you just envision that sweater vest that Kanye had on.
Yeah, right.
No, you guys were. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I do remember like the song release was a big part of that whole thing coming together.
Absolutely. So you guys were known for the cameo, for the end music, for the cameos, for just being a fire show. Did you have a favorite celeb cameo throughout the whole run of Entourage?
Yeah. You have an embarrassment of riches to choose from.
It really is. And I almost kind of categorize them in a way of like, I have like my favorite actor one. I have my favorite music one, my favorite sports one. Like the sports one, as much as I hate to say it, it was Tom Brady.
Oh shit.
Come on, dude. Come on.
I know. Listen, do you think I want to give him more love than he needs? The guy just threw 9 touchdowns last night. He's 150 years old.
Yeah, but also 18-1. So
yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah. So are we.
We got 2 off on that fucking bozo.
Exactly. Like it's, and that whole episode, like the whole Tom Brady sucks balls thing, right? Like that initial episode was supposed to be Eli and Peyton Manning.
Oh,
it was
wow.
an incoming call. Eli and Peyton and their people called Doug Ellen, our showrunner, and said, they want to do the show. Can you come up with something? So Doug comes up with that whole golf episode. That's why I think about the Chase brothers versus the Manning brothers. That's what it was supposed to be. Like 2 weeks before, they call and drop out for like no reason. Like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, do you realize the amount, like it was all in motion, right? Yeah. So that's where I guess having like Mark Wahlberg as your executive producer is really the ace of the hole. I remember him coming in and being like, well, you guys want me to call Tom? And we're like, who you talking about? Tom Seaver? Who the fuck are you talking about? He's like, Brady. It's like, yeah, call Tom Brady. Yeah. So he calls Brady. This was the year Brady had that knee injury. He missed the whole year previous. So no one had seen him in a minute. He called, like, Tom's in. Me and Tom will do the Peyton and Eli part. Great. I'm sitting with Doug Allen now. He's writing new dialogue, and he's like, what would Turtle say to Tom Brady? I said, all right, hold up. I'm going to call my buddy Paul in Staten Island, right? I call Paul. I'm like, yo, buddy, I got a question for you. It's the night before the Super Bowl. You're at the Super Bowl at a bar. Brady walks in. What do you say? He's like, I fucking tell him he sucks fucking balls. Doug went, thank you very much. Hung up the phone, went right in there. And that's where Tom Brady sucks balls came from. But
that's amazing.
Does Staten Island Paul have a writer's credit for that episode?
Yeah, right.
He does not. And I think that went out the window a while ago. But I always
shout
tell
out
that
Paul
story.
for the punch ups, dude. Punch up Paul.
Sucks balls. And then
just getting the opportunity.
Deflategate years later would be an ironic twist to the sucks balls.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like he was on set and he was fucking super cool. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. He was prepared, knew his lines, was good, super cool as a crew, signed a bunch of shit for everybody. I'm like, all right, you're fucking awesome. I get it. It's not fake. Fine.
Did you get anything signed, or were you like too proud?
I can't do it. Like I pride myself.
Like, yo, sign this Plaxico jersey real quick.
Yeah, right.
Or Kevin Boss. Who remembers the big Kevin Boss catch prior to the
helmet catch? Yeah.
Doesn't get talked about enough. So he was great. Actor wise, I mean, I fanboyed out for Martin Landau, who was he passed away, but like, that dude was like best friends with James Dean. Right. Talk about fucking cool and style. Like they came up together. Yeah. It's not like me saying like, hey, me and Adrian came up to, like, he came up with James fucking
Dean. Right. And, no shots to Adrian, but he's not James Dean.
Adrian's catching a lot of strays this episode.
Yeah. I always remember, he has a show on Netflix now. He's good.
Oh, he's good. Yeah.
Fuck him.
You got that Netflix money. I always remember
something Landau said, and I think this like kind of goes to most businesses when he's talking about acting. He's like, I always kind of subscribe to like when doing a scene, like try to make the other guy look good. Like if you go into it, like how could I set my man up? Right. And if you're both doing that, you both are going to be fucking great. And I think that works for a podcast.
That's what we're doing for you right now, dog.
Right.
Making you look as good as fucking possible. Yeah.
You guys are throwing me lots.
Well, here's a curveball. Did you have a least favorite cameo? See, we set you up. Now we got to bring you down.
I didn't know
the other side of the coin, bro.
Look, I definitely do. I'm not one to like out people from things from like 15 years ago, but they haven't all been smooth.
This is the Brooklyn Omerta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the Italian American coming out. I like it.
I'm just saying.
How's Saigon doing?
Yeah. Saigon's good. No, I literally talk to Saigon all the time. He always reached out to me when I started having kids. He has kids. It's so funny. Like, on Instagram, my mom comments on everyone I've ever met stuff. And like her and Saigon have become really good Instagram friends. Like Saigon calls my mom, like,
fire.
It's, and Saigon's a great dude. That was another kind of musical artist that I was super psyched for that, at the time too, Saigon had an album coming out and like had so much like street cred and like underground hip hop. And, man, couldn't have been a nicer dude.
Was there anyone that came on the show who they themselves were starstruck to meet the core four and Turtle and the whole fucking squadron?
Because you guys were fucking nuclear, right? Like it was the biggest show on the planet. So there's got to be people that like it was a two-way street, right?
I would say it was more, not so much like they were like psyched to meet us, but they were psyched to be on the show. Like they wanted to kind of, I'm trying to remember who, but like
it was like a cosign kind of,
like even like giving notes, almost like directing us, like wanting us to play the hits,
right.
like wanting to like. And I remember one time I said some kind of line where I called someone bro, and I don't remember which cameo it was. But it was like, wait, doesn't Johnny Drama only say bro? We know this is the only one on the show that's allowed to say bro. Everyone else like can't say. I'm like, oh, you're right.
Like Turtle, shouldn't you be smoking more weed right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like that. Like, shouldn't Turtle be smoking a joint in this scene? I'd be like, all right, fine, fuck it, let's go. Props, let's roll up the joint and play the hits. It really was James Cameron was the one that like legitimized the cameos, right? Like that was season 2. So before that, people thought we were trying to make fun. Like once people understood, like, hey, this is not like trying to like make you look like shit. We like, if you want to, you could come make as much fun of yourself or as little fun of yourself as you want. Like we're not here to make you look like an idiot. So
just like this podcast.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You can go full Bob Saget if you want, but like you can also, keep it reined in.
Honestly, if anything, that's one that stands the test of time. The Bob Saget cameo. Because a lot of
changed his career, kind of like he became like a different, or the truer version of himself, I guess.
That's what it was. I think like if you knew Bob's stand up, you knew a little more of what he was. But if you only knew him from Full House, like you didn't know, like he did it a little bit in Half Baked. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Half Baked.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Right. So that's like a cameo where I think
Abba you my only friend.
Yeah.
Right. So when he came on, I just remember that was one of the moments of like how willing is he going to be to commit to this storyline that he lives next to prostitutes and engage, and he wanted to push the envelope further.
Right. Well, let's move the spotlight off Hollywood. We're a no friends in the industry type pod. We're the people's champs. We're only about the fans and the people that we fucking live for every single day. When it comes to the fans, what's the one Entourage moment that people still bring up with you to this day?
Let's see.
Where do we start?
Speaking of Bob Saget, I always get the like cock blocked by Bob Saget comes up a lot. Crossing swords with Johnny Drama comes up a lot.
Sundance.
Definitely getting broken up with by Jamie Lynn Sigler comes up a lot for me personally. The Playboy Mansion stuff always comes up. I mean, I always play along with fans of the show. Like you got to, right? Like I give what I get. And look, I would say it's 99% fucking super cool people who it's like, it's a compliment and an honor. It's like kind of why you do it. You want people to like your stuff. Right. And every now and then there's like the one or two just assholes who want to get like a negative reaction from you.
Right. And
again, I still won't even take the bait. Right. Like unless you're like physically trying to like,
you're a better man than us.
Yeah. Well, it's just easy. It actually takes less effort to just be cool.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. With that said, that bait sometimes you want a little tasty,
bait looking tasty
treat. Yeah.
I guess if I was to sum up the worst part of like when people coming up is the look of disappointment when they
meet Jerry.
Right. Like when they see it's like, oh, you're not nearly as fun as that dude. Like if people
you're a real person.
Turtle, let's smoke this joint. And I'm like, listen, I would love to smoke this joint with you, but I don't know you. And I'm sure it's not laced with anything crazy, but
sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
Right. Or like, Turtle, let's do some shots of tequila. It's like, listen, it's 3:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
And I'm on my way somewhere. And they're like, what? Like you're not going to smoke this joint and take this shot? Isn't that what you do? I'm like, yeah, it's a bigger conversation, but it's fun, man. It's a lot of, it's for the most part, like I said, 99% the most flattering, fun,
of course,
stuff ever.
I think James and I can learn a lot about being as gracious as you. It's definitely something that we could learn a thing.
Well, I still feel like I snuck into a party that at any moment the bouncer's going to shine the light on me and be like, how the fuck did you get in here? Like, get out of here. You don't belong here. So I'm just trying to stay in the party as long as possible.
Never take it for granted for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and the best thing about parties are the party stories. Is there like, after all these years, is there a wild story from the Entourage era that stayed with you that you just kind of point to and just like, that is emblematic of like how much fun we were having and how on top of the world we were?
Well, the first kind of thing
without
we ever
getting
did,
anyone arrested.
Yeah, I'm hoping the statute of limitations has.
And look, it was never truly like that. I mean, that's the other big misconception is like everyone would always kind of say, "Oh, you guys must be having so much fun on that show," and we were. It wasn't like we weren't having fun, but the actual set life is. You're there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's work.
Like, literally like plucking nose hairs and shaving and like getting like, you know, and you're there till 7, 8, sometimes 9 o'clock at night and later. So it is a grind. But right when we all got cast and we were about getting ready to shoot the pilot, we didn't know. I'd never met any of those guys before. I don't think any of us knew each other prior. And again, not to throw Wahlberg up, but he's like, all right, here's what's going to happen. This is how long ago. It was a Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver 1. First time they fought in both their primes. He said, we're going to go to that fight. I'm taking all you guys. You guys got to get to know each other a little bit. And we're taking a private plane. Now, private plane, I didn't even have a car at this point. I had to ask someone for a ride to the airport, let alone figure out how do you get on a private plane? I don't know.
Like, my passport
I didn't get many instructions. It was like, show up at Burbank Airport. Here's the tail number. What the fuck is a tail number? I don't know what a tail number is. And after getting past that, like Mark had like 3 or 4 of his friends. And then there's like the 4 of us. We're on this private plane. I had a panic attack, 45 minutes. It was only a 45-minute flight. I had a panic attack. I'm like, these things go down all the time. Right. And then we got to Vegas and we went to the fight, sat front row. We went to a club afterward and we partied till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Sure. Slept all day and then hit a private plane home, slept more. And then we're shooting like that Monday. And I just found it hard to believe. I'm like, so that's the life we're going to try to portray. That's not real life. And I will say
that was you doing method acting.
Yeah. Right. You were in and out like SEAL Team 6, dude.
Yeah. Like, you know, they confuse me all the time with Daniel Day-Lewis in the method acting department. You know, like they think Daniel Day-Lewis, Lincoln, Terry Ferrara, Turtle, Entourage, like same kind of thing. No, but, we definitely did become fast friends on that trip. And I don't think that was something Mark was doing on the regular, but I think the producing part of him was like, I got to show these guys a little bit of like this world that the Vincent Chase character is getting to.
Was Mark's crew that he like brought, was that like the crew that you guys were based on? Was that also part of it or?
Yes and no. And like the based on part was always a little, I don't want to say sketchy, but like it was loosely on Mark and his friends. And then there was some of which loosely on Doug Ellen and his friends growing up on Long Island. But like there is a Johnny Drama, like there is a real guy named Johnny Drama. If I recall, the first time I met him, he said, I'll introduce you to the Hollywood Squares. And he picked up his shirt and showed me a 6-pack. And like, those are the Hollywood Squares. I'm like,
how was the real life Johnny Drama's calves?
Yeah.
Thick.
Yeah. Okay.
Thick cat. Yeah. That was not based on real life. And by the way, Kevin Dillon, sneaky little secret. We had to shoot around his well-developed calves.
Okay.
Kevin Dillon has great calves. And a Notre Dame, I believe a Fighting Irish tattoo on his calf.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Kevin Dillon,
well-developed calves for Kevin Dillon.
For sure.
Did Mark Wahlberg's waking up at 2 a.m. to work out? Did that ever rub off on you?
No, I definitely I got myself in some shape, but no, that's like another. I remember reading his whole schedule. It's insane. And it was like he's like eats 16 times a day. He works out 3 times a day, and then he prays, and then he takes care of his kids. I'm like, well, whatever he's doing is working.
Like 8 rounds of golf, and then goes to bed at 5:30 p.m.
EP's 5 things has a fucking Wahlburgers appearance.
He's a maniac, dude.
No, he's a very, very he's an amazing businessman and a great dude. And I feel like I owe that guy a lot. He kind of saved me in the audition process when I was doing my final audition.
You're blowing it?
Apparently, well, that's exactly what he said to me. So back then, the final audition phases, they bring like 3 guys for each role. Okay. And you're all sitting in a waiting room at HBO. There's this little theater that they bring you into with a light in your eye. You can't see who's in the audience. It's all the executives. And you do like, it's almost like you do like a solo portion, and then they pair you up with people, and then they start sending people home. Like you can go.
Right.
It's like, oh, wow. So I go in for my solo part as Turtle. I audition with a casting director. I do my scenes, like my 30th time auditioning. And I come back out in the waiting room, like B-Rabbit and 8 Mile, I put my hoodie back up. I was wearing a Jerome Bettis jersey.
Mom spaghetti.
like a size 54 Jerome Bettis jersey.
To like be in character, or to like just that's what your swag was.
Yeah, I was 5'7", 180, wearing a size 54 Jerome Bettis jersey. So I go back in the waiting room, and I'd never met Mark Wahlberg. Comes out of the room. I didn't even know he was in that theater because you couldn't see shit.
Right.
And he comes out and he's like motioning to someone like this, like, come here. And I'm like, looking at him, like, he's fucking motioning at me.
Yo,
like, oh,
the bus, get over here.
I'm like, yeah, bus.
Yeah.
So I walk over.
Park in the back. Yeah.
And like, he throws his arm around me and he's like, listen, I don't want to make you nervous or fuck you up, but I'm just giving you a heads up. You're kind of blowing it. I'm like, what? I am? He's like, look, that was fine. What you did in there was fine, but that was not what I was watching in all your previous tapes. I'm like, oh shit, you watch my tapes?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like, he's like, look, stick to the script or not. Just go in there and like be a little more yourself and let it fly. And just like, this is the moment. Like, you got to do it now. Mm-hmm. So that was like the greatest cup of coffee in the world. I walked away from that, sure. And I'm like, I think I got paired up next with Kevin Connolly, and we went in there to do a scene. And I remember they're like trained in that audience to never laugh or give you any idea that you're doing well or not. And we got some laughs in the scene, and then they started sending people home one by one. And that very last moment where it was the three of us on stage, Adrian wasn't there. Cause I think he was in New York or something. And, we were the last guys standing, but Mark told me I was blowing it.
Do you remember who the other guys were that were auditioning for Turtle? Like, was it anyone that like became like famous for something else, or that we would like a name we would know, or?
Honestly, I swear to you, I don't. This is in 2003, bro.
Right.
This is a long time ago.
In an alternate universe, we're potting with like another dude, fucking, John Doe.
If Mark Wahlberg didn't tell you that you fucking sucking ass, it would be somebody else in that chair. And that hurt. There is a world.
Yeah, there is a world where he doesn't tell me that I'm sucking. That I don't.
Yeah. You're just making sandwiches at some other guy's deli.
Right. Exactly.
Buddy, I think I had a shift at Boston Market that night. I think I really do. I think I kept
Boston Market
job.
To the Patriots quarterback. It's full circle, ladies and gentlemen.
I think I kept that job after even we shot the pilot. So I'm like, you never know with these pilots. They don't
that's like Ron Artest when he got drafted. He worked at Circuit City to get that discount and be the plug.
I know. That's amazing. He's like, I gotta look out for Plan B here.
Yeah. Shout out Jerry, Mark Wahlberg for changing the course of history. I will say this will come out after 9/11, and if Mark was on that plane, he said it himself, things would have gone down a little bit differently. So shout out to the American hero, Patriot, Mark Wahlberg.
Jerry, from making fucking minimum wage at Boston Market to getting those HBO bags. When the pilot was picked up and the show started rolling and you got that first paycheck in the mail, because I think this was before direct deposit was possible. What was the first big purchase you made when that first check hit?
Definitely bought some Jordans. Not gonna lie, definitely bought. Trying to remember which. I think I might have bought some Laney 5s.
Oh shit!
I want to say I think I bought some Laney 5s, and I leased a car. Again, I did not have a car.
What were you whipping back then?
Yeah, what was that first Hollywood whip?
I think I leased Infinity M45, black on black, with some 20s.
With some spinners with the spinning
no
rims?
Spinners. No
spree wheels.
I don't even know if spinners were a thing yet. Maybe they were back then.
I think that was like the peak spinner
that would have been
era.
Peak spinner. Okay. No, I did not get spinners. But yeah, I think I leased the car because I did not have a car at that point. And LA without a car is like...
Oh, yeah.
Being on the moon without oxygen.
Yeah. Like, you're like Vinny Chase, bro. You need a driver.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I wasn't making the Vinny Chase money yet at that point.
Well, when you did blow up and you were making that Vinny Chase money, did you ever get your own turtle as Jerry Ferrara?
No, because I mean, to be completely honest, I never really, and maybe I just have never been busy enough to do like the assistant and like assistant number 1 and 2 and the driver. Like I never had any kind of an assistant really, or driving, like none of that, because I like doing those things. I like fucking driving. I like putting on music and driving myself. I like
a humble genius.
Get my own coffees and do shit like that.
You didn't tell Paul from Staten Island to, you didn't fly the homies out and like put them on payroll?
That's the good thing about my friends from back home is they would have came out, but they would have made me drive them.
Right.
Like, they don't care at all about that kind of stuff. The only thing I ever really did spring for, but this was more when I was trying to get in shape, and it wasn't like a chef who like came over and prepared like a 5-course meal for 10 people. It was a guy who literally would come over and like cook like 3 days worth of food for me that was all healthy and leave it in the fridge. That's the only real, because I can't cook. That's the only thing I sprung for that.
Yeah.
But no,
the only Italian man who can't cook.
Well, I don't know, man. Italian moms. I mean,
I guess you're right. Yeah. You have been babied
2 o'clock
a bit.
in the morning. It's like Goodfellas. Just pulling out.
Just frying up some sausages.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's talk about the fucking fits that graced the back and dome and feet of Turtle throughout Entourage. Do you have a favorite fit of his that you still can point to and be like, that's the one?
Look. Okay, we could really look back at some of the early season Turtle outfits and some rough ones in there early on, like visor with like sweatsuit, but not sweat like pant, like
shorts,
sweat short zip ups, like there was
velour shorts.
There was exactly.
Yo, it sounds like you have PTSD, dude.
In a few years, you might see this shit start to come back.
For sure.
If you kept any of the wardrobe and you start busting out again, you might fucking blow up on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Oh, should we make that TikTok account because I do have like a couple of plastic tubs filled with early season 1, 2, and 3 Turtle outfits.
If you did like a lot of velour. If you did a Turtle outfit of the day TikTok, you would go so viral, dog.
Well, maybe you guys could help produce that.
We would love to.
Absolutely. We'll be your TikTok.
We're gonna ask you for a fit pick for promotion. Maybe you bust out some of the old shit for that pick if you want.
I have do you remember there was I think it was season 1, I think. Maybe it was season 2, actually. There was a Giants jersey that says Turtle on the back. I have that one. So maybe I'll throw that. I have the giant hat too. I could literally recreate that whole entire outfit.
Dude, listen, it's up to you. We don't want to like put you on blast like that, but if you want to wear the custom Turtle Giants jersey, we will blast it out to as many people as possible.
Let's do it. I have a lot of the hats too. No one thought I had hair for the first like 3 or 4 years of Entourage. Like I had this great like Eddie Munster widow's peak hairline, and like I was just in a hat. I remember watching and feeling a little like jarred. It was a little jarring when there was an episode where you like showed up without a hat for the first time.
Yeah.
And you had a fucking full head of hair.
I think it was there was an episode we did where Ari's daughter had her bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
Where we had to wear suits and stuff. It was the introduction of Emmanuel Shrieky's character, Sloan. That was our first episode. And I do remember people like, wow, you got a great fucking head of hair. I'm like, yeah, I know. They don't want to let me show it.
It was like that Rick Ross line, so many shades, they thought I had a lazy eye. It's like, yo, just like I contain multitudes, people. I have hair.
Yeah.
In that episode, Ari says to Turtle, smoke more weed. Like he just sees how high you are. If you had to do the math, how many metric tons of marijuana did you have to smoke on set as Turtle?
Wait, say that like me as Jerry, or like how much did the character smoke, or how much?
Yeah, well, stunt weed. Let me ask you this. What are you smoking when you're smoking?
Was it cat weed or was it the real shit?
Let's discuss this because there's a lot to unpack. Now, as much as I would much rather
a lot to unroll.
Actually smoked real weed while working. You can't. It was
post 9/11. It was a weird time.
You could maybe sneak in a joint. But also the other thing, like I said, is you're setting up for a 14-hour day. So if you're doing a scene where you got to smoke and it's 9:30 in the morning, do you really want to twist up a fat one, smoke it, and then be like, all right, I'm here for another 12 hours.
Sure.
I got to keep smoking.
Yeah.
Or you smoke your way through it, I guess.
Power through, dude.
Yeah, you just can't. Believe me, I would. If I could have, I would have for sure.
Right. So what do you smoke then on set? What do they give you?
So back then there was this like herbal tobacco that looks exactly like weed. It doesn't have any like nicotine in it or anything. And they say it's not harmful for you. Who knows? Back then it's like, sure, whatever.
How your lungs feeling? How your lungs feeling today?
I'm holding up okay for now.
You sound good.
I sound all right. Chest x-ray comes back pretty well. But yeah, that's kind of what you were smoking. Or I would just maybe throw a little.
It was Juul 1.0.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It really was. But yeah, I mean, but I will say, I was training for that my whole teenage life. I mean,
I was built for this.
You want to talk about how much I smoked throughout the tea. I would always much rather smoke than drink. I was never like a drinker. I enjoy wine or scotch. I'm not like a beer guy. I would always, since I was a teenager, like even when my friends were trying to sneak beer, I'd try to be like, let's sneak a joint.
Yeah, spark up.
So yeah, I definitely was as a
on your
teen,
TikTok account. One of 3 TikToks is about smoking blunts.
Yeah,
which is very cool.
Good way to connect with Gen Z, Jerry. I respect that.
I mean, listen, it's not really like we didn't do many blunts because then that's just harsh to smoke. But I remember. I mean, I was rolling blunts with one hand like this.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's
that was always like craft. That was always the thing, like in the scene where if you don't have a lot of lines, if you notice too, a lot of times I'm smoking, it's where I'm just kind of background in the scene because it's like, look, I'm in this scene. It's going to take 6 hours to shoot. I have 2 lines where I'm like literally called drama old or something.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, can we? I always be like, can I smoke a joint in this scene? They're like, yeah, sure. So I would get my little papers and my fake weed, and that would be like my business in the background while I say that one line, and it ended up becoming a cool character trait, I guess.
What do you drink instead of Budweiser bottles? Which, by the way, is the best beer. Like, what was the fake beer? Just like apple juice?
Or, well, if you have like one of those tinted kind of bottles, you just throw water in there.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't say that we never took an actual drink though while shooting. Like if you don't have any dialogue, and it's like, all right, I'll take a sip. I'm not saying anything.
Let me get one of those real boys. Yeah. Back to the fits though, because you are from Bensonhurst, you are Brooklyn born and raised. Did you consult at all on Turtle's wardrobe?
I wouldn't say like I consulted like here. We had like one big talk early on, and our costume designer, Amy Westcott, back then was very much like she knew right away, like, and we kind of came up with like everything sort of matching, obviously the Jordans, Air Force Ones, all that stuff. So like I actually pushed hard against the hat situation, meaning like to me, if you're a Yankee fan in New York, you wear the Yankee hat as is. You don't wear like a red one, a green one. So
not Fred Durst.
That one always bothered me, that we would kind of match the team. Like to me, you just never do that. Right. Like you find another hat to wear. Don't wear a red Yankee hat with a red shirt. But whatever, I lost that fight. And there was definitely some cool like alt Yankee hats over the years, but no, we kind of talked. It was jerseys. It wasn't stuff I was wearing at the time. I was 23. I was sort of growing out. It was more like, this is what because he was the young one of the group. Right. This is how I kind of was doing it when I was like 18. Sure. So we would always talk a lot about more so mid to late 90s Brooklyn than what was happening now.
With the big denim, the big jean shorts.
Oh, my big jean short. I mean, they some might say they were pants. But they just that showed a little ankle, a little Achilles. You see a little Achilles.
Between the 4 of you guys, who was the biggest diva on set? Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. Honestly, the things that I would always see that are the most diva that can happen are like how long it could take you to get ready, or like showing up on time. And like, we really didn't have that problem. Cause again, like it took me 10 minutes to get ready in the morning. Remember, I'm wearing a hat. I don't have to do that. I just got to make sure my beard was like semi lined up. It's not like I'm getting flooded with makeup. I was definitely not the heartthrob of the show.
You don't say.
So
you did all right for yourself.
Yeah. Later, but especially early on, like, what was my job? Like, know your lines, be there on time. Those are really the only things that you could diva out about, and
drive the very expensive car.
Yeah.
Listen, acting while driving, no, not as easy as you might think. Okay?
Tom Hardy did a whole movie where he's driving and acting, but I guess that's because he's Tom Hardy. He could do it, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure maybe he was on a trailer and they were making it.
Probably.
Also, he had no lines.
Right. Anytime you see someone driving in a movie or a show and they are way too much like driving straight, but just going left, right, they're on a trailer. Right. And they're like trying to be conscious of like, oh shit, I'm driving. I got to make it look like I'm driving. No one drives like that.
They're overcompensating.
Anytime you see that, they're on a trailer and not actually driving.
Hollywood secrets revealed.
Coming up next on Throwing Fits.
Well, Jerry, the project that you got going on right now is you EP'd and you're starring in a movie called Dating in New York. Yes. So naturally got to ask, as we wrap up the entourage section of the podcast, between the 4 of you guys, who got the most ass?
Listen.
Speaking of Hollywood secrets revealed,
wife's not home.
Yeah.
Don't you love too when someone doesn't want to answer a question, they fill it all up with like, listen, hey, well,
yeah, sure, totally, right.
It's one of those things. If you really slow it
think
down,
about the early 2000s.
So rewind the clock and think about
no child left, Bush era,
I don't necessarily know who got the most of whatever. Like unfortunately and unfortunately, I was in relationships most of the time throughout.
Oh, you blew it.
Entourage. I kind of blew it, I guess some would say. But it led me to this point.
If I had to guess based on his pedigree in the Pussy Posse, I'm going to go with Kevin Connolly. That's just Larry speaking.
On the CV.
Jerry's just like, I don't know. Jordan shrug.
I don't know. It also wasn't like a big kiss and tell situation. It wasn't like people came into work next day like, again, 6 a.m. with coffee, like one eye open. It wasn't like I was up till 3. It just wasn't fully like that.
You guys were pros.
This is what I mean when I say people get disappointed, right? Like they want they want to be like, oh, there's 2 or 3 of the like Fredo and Godfather, 2 or 3 cocktail waitresses at a time. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like that. I'm sorry.
I heard Adrian Grenier is still a virgin to this day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's saving himself for marriage. Yeah.
He was very unlucky with the ladies.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It actually, the blue eyes, they don't like blue eyes.
Yeah.
The luscious locks.
Yeah. Right. Dark, tall, dark, handsome. Not a thing.
That doesn't work.
Not a thing. False.
Entourage is like, it's very much a period piece almost, right? Not just from like the fits that Turtle had or even like the fucking cars, but like in so many ways it is so emblematic and so like stuck in a very specific time period. Do you think if Entourage as it was came on today, do you think it would pass muster in like the current climate of political correctness and cancel culture?
Just, maybe on one level, people would be watching it almost like you said, like, wow, this is like something out of the 2000s, but these guys are doing it now. Like maybe it would become popular because of something like that. I mean, no, I don't think so.
Right.
I just don't. I mean, even if you go back and look at some of the old episodes, like it just was a different time and the way people spoke to each other was different. And yeah, I mean, the Ari character. I mean, we actually did an episode, not that Ari was canceled, but we did an episode where he got like secretly recorded and one of the female agents was going to release the tapes and he got divorced over it and stuff like that. And that was back in 2008. So
Entourage predicted cancel culture.
Entourage is very
let's not bury the lead here. Yeah.
I don't know. I do think though, there could be an Entourage reboot, but in my opinion, not with us. I think you got to like start over.
So not what they're doing with Sex in the City, but a whole new, what they're doing with Gossip Girl, to use another HBO.
Exactly. Product. I would say more Gossip. Well, yeah. And also like everyone always said compared Entourage and Sex in the City.
Right.
Like, I am very grateful for the success of Entourage, but let's not kid ourselves. Sex in the City was like a monumental global phenomenon.
They did 2 movies. I think you guys only got. Wait, how many? You guys got 1 movie or?
We did 1. They did 2, and they're back on the air again.
Right.
Like, that shows you the. Right,
you guys never sold any Jimmy Choos.
Right. Exactly.
No. Yeah. So
just Air Force Ones.
But yeah, I definitely think if you used like the Entourage as like a model,
the general conceit of like a kid from Queens and his homies from home come in and fuck up the system out in fucking La La Land.
Right. Because I guess like, I don't want to say this is what hurt the show later, because I don't think it hurt, but like once the Vince character and all the guys became really successful and it wasn't so much like, hey, we gotta, win in this situation. Like the stakes got, I don't want to say they got lower, but they did. Right. Like all right, Vince doesn't get the movie. Okay. He's got $30 million or whatever. And he's got all his friends with him. He's a good looking guy. Like he's going to be all right. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
So it definitely became harder to like create the obstacles to overcome as the show went on.
Jerry, in a time where like new IP seems few and far between, have there been like conversations and rumblings about another movie or a special or some type of reunion?
Not to me. I know there's definitely rumblings out there on the internet that I've seen, but I don't know. I don't.
Would you be down?
It's such a trick question, right? Because like, of course I love the guys. Right. I love doing it. It literally changed my entire life. So yeah, but then on the flip side to that, it's like, what more are we gonna do?
What can be said? Yeah.
We have to really restructure. Like, do we have kids now?
Yeah,
41 years old. Like, what do we do? Are we all living together still?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Like, are we in an old age home at this
It's
point?
absolutely
like,
sad and pathetic, but yes, you're all still living together.
You guys band together
alone.
to launch it. You guys band together to launch a TikTok house.
Right. Like, is Vince broke and now lives with Turtle and Turtle's still rich? Like, what is John? Like, is Johnny Drama? What is he? Is he hosting a podcast? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
He's a spokesman for calf implants.
The world may never know, but those were all really good ideas, by the way. I don't know if anyone was listening, but Jerry's got some good pitches.
Yeah, all that IP belongs to the three of us. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your current project, which is this movie, Dating in New York.
Yes,
a modern day rom-com out right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're in it, right? You have like a small role. Like, how big is your role in it?
Small role, but kind of help narrate tell the story a little bit. So you feel my presence.
Yes.
So you can't talk really about my fits too much. I was one outfit, very uniform, so to speak.
But you executive produced it with a first time like feature length director, our boy Jonah Feingold, as EP. What was like the one piece of advice that you kept giving him so that he could execute the vision? As executive producer, help him get the film done?
I mean, there definitely wasn't like just one thing, but a lot of the things that I kept reminding him and just urging him to do is like, it's so easy. Directing is hard. Think about like all the departments that are in a movie, sound, hair, all this stuff. And then you have the heads of those departments. Then you have the director who is the head of all the heads of the department. So I would always just try to tell him like, don't look too far down of like what you're shooting on Friday or Monday. Like really try to lock in on like what the work is for that day. And you just can't look too far ahead. I know we all try to and like get out in front of things. And I don't think on a set as a director, it kind of works that way.
Right.
And the other thing I tried reminding them of too is, and I guess it's because I'm an actor. It's like, definitely give people like their time and like hear them out. And like, sometimes you work with some people and it's like, no, do it like this, like this is how I want it. And that's fine. That works. And TV could be a lot like that. But with movies, it's kind of all hands on deck to create what's going on. So, and I don't know, Jonah's a first time feature director, but Jonah's been directing stuff for a while and has been like, I always say it's like you're an overnight success after like 7 years of grinding. Like, it doesn't really quite work like that. And he's definitely like the little brother I always wanted for sure. I don't have a younger sibling.
Shout out Jonah. Thank you.
Jonah's a man.
Yeah. Thanks for setting this up, bro.
Was this your first time EPing a feature length film?
I produced a documentary, which is very, very different. I did a music doc called A Band Called Death, which is awesome. And I EP'd a show that we did 1 year. But no, as far as like a low budget indie, I've acted in them. I know what they take on like the acting side and I know what that's like, but no, definitely not on the producing side. And
is that something you want to get more into?
Oh, for sure. For several reasons. One, it's like, I'm sure well, it's just like once kids kind of come into the picture, like 5 years ago, if I got a call, be like, hey, you want to go do this low budget indie in, Russia? And it's like, yeah, why not? I ain't got shit going on. Let's go. Whereas now, whenever I do get calls for a movie or a show, I'm not saying my phone rings off the hook, but I do get job offers. I've noticed my questions now in fatherhood have become, okay, where is it? Mm-hmm. How long? Where it used to be like, who's directing? Who wrote it? Who else is in it? Now I ask those things like later because I'm trying to figure out how do I pull this off? So with producing, I think it's the chance to also create a more healthier like home life workflow, but also like I love acting, I do, but you're a part. I want a little more. That's not even like more control. I just want a little more. I have more.
You want to play
creativity.
God.
There's limits.
More stakes
to it. There's sometimes, and maybe that's just the TV part too. But there's like limits to how far you could push a character sometimes.
Well, that's so funny that you talked about, the time requirements, because Jonah actually told me that while you may be in your physiologically early 40s, he said that mentally you're 96 years old and that this is something that you milk as much as possible when it comes to shooting hours.
Yes.
How many times did you pull the EP card to get out of doing work on this film?
I mean, you know what I would say? Here's what I would say to him as a joke. I did like 2 scenes in a Clint Eastwood movie, Sully. I don't know if I remember Sully, the guy who landed the plane. Right. Mm-hmm. I did 2 scenes. If you blink, you really do miss me. But it was more about like, even though I was in the movie for 30 seconds, I was still on set for like 30 hours. Right. So that's 30 hours and watching Clint Eastwood do his thing. And it is very much, you do a take or 2 and then you move on. So whenever I felt like we're kind of beating the drum here, I would just look at Jonah and be like, Eastwood moves on right now.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying, knowing him, and after Eastwood moves on and he calls rap and we're on our way home. But
Jonah is more of a Stanley Kubrick, a lot of takes.
It's 39 degrees and it's 2:00 in the morning. No, let's do another one, Jonah. Come on, let's do another one. But those are all jokes.
Eager beaver, bro.
Yeah,
those are all jokes. We definitely got everything we needed, but I will say, and I guess maybe this is like the last 2 years of just not being able to work as much because of like the world and stuff like that. Like I'm much more inclined now to be like, you know what? Let's keep doing the acting. Yeah. I'm going to keep producing and making stuff. And I sold the show to HBO and I sold some other stuff, but like,
congrats, man. That's it.
Producing the Dating in New York was more about helping Jonah get this movie made. And he kind of pulled off a miracle. Like the movie was sold. It's out in theaters now. It's on iTunes, and the cast was like already kind of blowing up before we shot the movie. Then we shoot the movie, and then the cast blows up even more as the movie's about to come out. Like, Jabuki, Kat Cohen, Francesca, like everyone's like going to a whole other level. And the movie hasn't even come out yet. It's just out. So it's really cool to watch.
Well, so the movie's about 2 millennials that are kind of like can't find love in New York. They're on the fucking apps and you just realize that, maybe they're going about it all wrong. And I'm sure whether it's just from the movie itself, and I'm sure that you put in the R&D on like modern dating, what sticks out to you as someone that's not dating and happily married? What sticks out to you in the current world of dating that just blows your fucking mind?
Oh man, so many things. And this is what Jonah and I's friendship was built on, right? Because I think he's
dating each other
30. Yeah, exactly. We dated for 2 years. No, just, I'm a married guy with kids. He's a single guy, looking for love or whatever. And he's on the apps. And so we would just talk about, and I was just so fascinated, like as someone who has never obviously been on any kind of dating app.
Mm-hmm. There is a turtle line. There is a turtle line that talks about dating girls online because you get all the small talk bullshit out of the way, and when you show up, you're just down to fuck.
I mean, in the real world, Turtle invented a dating app. Was probably what would have happened, right? For sure. Or maybe that's the new reboot.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with some of the things I was most shocked by was how Jonah was going on a first date, right? One time. And this was I was in Williamsburg, and that's where I kind of gave him, he's like, what should I do with this girl? I want to like make it kind of cool, whatever. And I just went back to my first date scenario. I recommended a restaurant to him. Okay. In Williamsburg. And next day, talk to him. Like, so how'd it go? He's like, what did you do? I'm like, what? He's like, why would you send me to that place? I'm like, you said you wanted like a cool first date. He's like, yeah, like a place to like get a drink and talk. And like, that was like a real, like, that's where you go on like Valentine's Day.
Oh, damn. Wait, what was the restaurant?
I think it was called Aurora in Williamsburg, right?
Yeah, no, that on Grand Street. That is a pretty romantic place, bro.
It's like where you propose.
I don't think
there's literally wedding. It's a wedding venue.
You blew it, Jerry.
No, I might have even talked him into like a scooter ride, like take a scooter ride. So it was like I planned a first date, and that's what I would have did. So he was very upset about that. The other thing I was blown away by is just how out in the open everything is. Meaning, like you could go meet someone for a drink and be like, hey, you know what? This isn't really working out. It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna go, and it's like. You don't have to do the whole dinner. Let's get to like, if you feel like the vibes aren't there right away, you could bail early and it's not disrespectful. And I'm not saying that's what happens at all dating, but
Right.
just some of the stories and like that. Yeah. I just remember
just with guys that are particularly bad at it. Yeah.
I remember being on a bad date where maybe I was bad and just being like, wow, we're here for like 2.5 hours. Let's buckle up.
Yeah.
Let's get through this, whereas
sneak out back, smoke, have a little something,
Yeah.
I mean, I've even like have some younger friends who it's like, yeah, I'm like, I have a date at 8 and then I'm meeting a date at 10. And it's not even like, these are like, just trying to like get laid kind of dates.
Sure.
He's like, no, these like dates. Like we're going to go see if we like each other. I'm like, wow, man, it's like speed dating.
Right.
In a whole other cooler way.
As someone that is very happily married with this great family, great home life, what's the one piece of dating advice that you, Jerry, would give to someone who's dating in 2021? Besides, go to Aurora and Williamsburg, because that is
don't ask me where to go on a first date if you're not looking to get engaged. Apparently, couple things I would say. I would always say like take your fucking time. Like you really like it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So if it's someone you like, take your time at it all. But the other thing I would say is like what I learned is everyone's always kind of talking about like what they want in a relationship or a person. Like I want and I don't think you could do that. I think it's more about what you don't want. Because I think what you want is always going to change. Like you may not want to travel right now and say, hey, I just want to stay home. The world's weird. And you may find someone who agrees with that. And it's like, oh, great. But then in 5 years, you'll be like, I want to go everywhere. And that person still may be like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah. And I told you that up front.
And we knew this. So I think it's more like, I don't think you're going to wake up one day and say, hey, I want to date a lifetime criminal. I didn't want to a year ago, but now I do. My don't wants have changed.
Bad boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like what you don't want and that stuff is pretty cool. And I would also say, I quote this line that I think my uncle said to me. No one ever said, I saw all the red flags, but they went away.
Yeah, true.
Like usually the red flags.
Those are like, firmly planted in the ground.
Yeah. Like has a friend of yours ever been like, there was so many red flags, but you know what, just one day? All went away.
Yeah. It worked itself out beautifully.
Worked itself out, just quietly drifted off into the night.
Yeah. It sounds like a big character in this movie, like all great New York films, is New York City itself, the greatest city in the world. And not just New York City, New York in the fall, arguably top 2 seasons, and I'm not talking 2.
Yeah, for real.
Did filming this movie make you miss New York City?
Well, when we filmed it, I was still living in New York. Okay. So at that time, no. But I will say it was obvious. It wasn't like oh, hey, we could shoot it in the fall if you want. It was like, no. This movie is about summer's over, where it's
cuffing
maybe, it's a little more about cuffing season, a little more about, okay, let's find someone to hibernate with over the winter. And also, like you said, New York is just absolutely breathtaking in the fall. And speaking of the fits, it's like, we'll get into that if you want. It's like just like
it's the best time to dress,
Oh man. Like I always appreciated growing up in New York and living in New York for so long. Like, yeah, like first month of summer, like shorts, t-shirts, but then I'm like, God, I miss fucking sweaters.
Yeah, sure.
I miss sweat. Like, let's get to that,
Yeah.
So
sweater weather.
Yeah. But that was a very intentional thing. Like this movie needs to be in the fall. And I think the movie reflects that. And my favorite line from the trailer and the movie, which, it's a shot of Jabuki and Fran having like their first kiss. And Jabuki says like, only in New York could you kiss in front of a pile of garbage and it's still romantic. And you widen out and it's trash night in New York. And we all know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And it's
what it smells like.
And what it smells like, but it still looks like the most romantic shit ever, even with all the giant trash bags everywhere.
Jabuki has a fire coat. Like, were you and Jonah, as 2 Johns enthusiasts, were you guys nerding out and like heavily involved over the fits?
Well, our wardrobe department and Hope like was very clear on that. Like, obviously she had like the vision, but and you've met Jonah, like Jonah, Jonah's always in some kind of, sweatshirt with various Disney characters on it or, just like, but no, I mean, Jabuki's sweater game in the movie is like insane.
He's a stylish guy himself too. Jabuki.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, if you're looking for some fall inspiration,
there you go.
Definitely check out Jabuki. Just what he's wearing throughout the whole and all the characters with Jabuki sweater game. I was like, is he taking these? Because if he's not, I think I could drop like 3-4 pounds and get down the kind of the similar height. Right. I was eyeing his wardrobe down, but I didn't get anything.
Damn, Jabuki took it all.
Yeah.
You fucking need to
Probably.
see it.
Yeah.
He's just a young, hungry actor just reselling wardrobe on grails.
I mean, look, maybe
I think
one
he's doing pretty
day,
well for himself.
20 years from now, when he's on this podcast,
Oh, right.
and
Yeah.
he's like, hey, Jabuki,
We'll still
do
be
you have any of those-
podcasting.
do you have any of those clothes from?
Damn, you think it's going to take us 20 years to book Jabuki? I hope Jonah can finesse it like you a little bit better, but okay. All right.
I'm just saying, when the movie becomes more vintage, like Turtle
right.
2004
Sure.
Right.
short sweats.
Right.
Well, okay. So New York, obviously such a fucking character in this film and in so many cinematic moments throughout history. Another veritable New York institution that you've been involved with is 50. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. What was it like working with him on Power?
So oddly enough, 50 did a cameo in Entourage.
Yeah, the gift of him
years
driving
ago,
away.
Yeah.
which is also one of the biggest. I mean, that meme is on my feed all day long. Like someone just putting that up there. And another funny way cameos work, that was initially scripted for Kobe.
Oh,
But
shit.
I think it was in season, and it was very obviously like with Kobe, it was like, yeah, if it's basketball season, he's playing basketball. He ain't doing shit else. So it was like it wasn't like the Mannings canceling. It was like
Right.
love you guys, but I got to pass. So 50 came in, and quick story from that is, I think that was his own car that he shipped out to do the cameo. That was his car from his collection that he shipped out either from from one of his various houses to LA, I think, just to do that 2-minute cameo.
Damn, that rocks, dude. Shout out 50 Cent. He shipped his own car out for like a 2-minute scene.
That's some true 50 behavior. That's fine.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So met him on that. And then another movie I did, he had a cameo in where he played himself called Las Vegas.
Mhm.
So got to talk with him more. And then Power, Power was like a dream for me because I always liked drama kind of stuff more. No, I just always thought that that's what I was better at. And I ended up doing comedy for so long. I actually don't think I'm good at comedy at all.
Oh, come on.
So Power, and also I love the crime shows like Sopranos, Wire, Break It, like that kind of shit, drug deals, all that. So Power was very much a chance to do that after years of not doing that. So Power was a dream, man. It really was. And talk about the Entourage fan base, but Power fans are like the most rabid. Like they want, like people really want me to represent them in court if they ever needed a lawyer. Like they think I'm a real lawyer, and I wish
you're a real lawyer.
I always say, like, I'm not a smart guy. I wish I was smart enough to be, but I'm not. I need help saying those words on the show.
Right. Yeah.
Were you ever with 50 when did you ever watch his process of posting on Instagram? Because his fucking IG is just insane. Like, I don't know what's going on there.
I've not like watched it close up. He directed episodes of Power as well. So I do remember one time on the episode he was directing where you get these long breaks, and we were on a long break in this area, and like he gets on his phone and he's like typing something or whatever and smiling. And I don't remember what he posted, but it was him post. I'm like, oh wow, he's doing it.
Yeah. It's like watching Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel.
Oh shit, he's painting right now.
Yeah.
And
the artist at work.
That and the whole like what he was doing, the like if you owe him money stuff, whatever that was. I was like, listen,
do you ever owe 50 Cent money?
I won't even I won't even want to go to dinner with him if he's paying. I'm like, nope, separate checks, please. He's not paying for my meal. My goal in life is to hopefully never owe him any money. Nothing like that.
Did he ever post a photo, like a selfie of you guys, and like what liquor did he hashtag under it?
He posted something like years ago. I don't know. Whatever one he was promoting.
Whatever he was working on.
Yeah.
Vitamin
water.
As an actor and as a burgeoning executive producer, do you have a dream actor that is on your kind of like bucket list of people to work with?
I mean, it's unfortunate, right? That a guy I love, like Michael K. Williams, who just recently passed away.
Yeah, true.
And we talk about like New York actors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of getting to know him. Speaking of that Williamsburg building I was living in, where I sent Jonah to Aurora, Michael K. lived in that building.
Oh, wow.
And we have the same agent. So one day my agent calls me up and he's like, Michael K. Saw you in his building, wants to talk to you. I'm like, fuck, hell yeah, let's do this. And I linked up with him. A couple of times we took the train to like Knicks games together. And like, I just like, to me, that dude's a Hall of Famer. And again, he knew I told him how much I loved, but I just never really even said, because I don't want to come off as just like a giant fanboy. So I never fully was like, dude, I fucking love your, like everything you've done. But that is someone I always like in my mind. I've been lucky enough to like, there's been people I've always wanted to work with and it's worked out. And he was someone I would have loved to have worked with, but but he's the man. And like Gandolfini was always that for me too. Like I love Gandolfini. I think is my favorite actor of kind of my generation, minus the De Niro's and all that stuff.
Did you ever get to meet him through his TV daughter?
I met him briefly. He produced, that documentary on HBO, Alive Day Memories, I believe it was. I think it was about soldiers who were like wounded and almost like died at war, but were saved. And I went to the screening of that. And he was executive producer. He did all the interviews.
Were you with the plus one of Meadow Soprano?
I think Jamie and I were dating. Yes, we were. Yes, because he did also give me a little talk, but we were at whatever, like after the screening, having a drink, and he came over to me and he's like, all right, I gotta be a jerk off. I'm like, what? He's like, some of the guys and girls from the movie, the soldiers, like the veterans, like they love your show. They want to take a picture of you. I hate asking them. Like, hate asking me. Right. Like, first of all, don't ever hate asking. And second of all, that's like that's a no brainer. Let's go. Right. And went over there, took some photos. And then he did, I believe it was that night, did give me the like she's not my real daughter. She's like my TV daughter, but I love her like a daughter. So like, just like gave me the like, behave yourself.
Yeah. Sure.
Fucking that's incredible. Your P's and Q's,
Wow.
Behave yourself. But I mean, shit, there's so many good actors. My problem is like, I'm getting to that age where I'm bad with names.
You just can't even remember.
Do you have a dream director you would want to work with, whether as an EP or acting for them?
I mean, obviously, I would have loved to work with Scorsese. It's everyone I know. I feel like was in The Irishman, but me.
But you.
And I auditioned for it.
Oh shit!
Like, oh yeah, no, literally.
What part? Like any part or something specific?
I auditioned for the part character. Of Russell Bufalino,
young De
Niro, young Frank Sheeran. No, the Jimmy Hoffa, Pacino's character's like stepson, who was played by Jesse Plemons, who's in everything. Like, dude's unbelievable. Right. So I'm not saying that was just not. But yeah, I like my buddy Dom was in there. Dom Lombardozzi. A lot of my friends were in that movie. God, there's so many.
Wait, did you get to go on set? Did you? No. Your friends invite you? No. Okay.
I don't think unless you're either like De Niro or Pesci. I don't know if you're having set visitors on that.
Okay, got it. All right, good to know. Again, more Hollywood insider insights from our man.
They're like, hey, Dom's buddy Jerry's gonna stop by.
Yeah. Hey, Paul from Staten Island. Paul from Staten Island's in town. Maybe
if I brought everybody coffee, they would have let me.
Scorsese never had a cameo on Entourage, right? Or was he? Oh, he did. So you met him.
No. But so some of the cameo, like LeBron did a cameo. I wasn't in that scene. Scorsese wasn't in that scene. Steve Nash wasn't in that one. Nicholson wasn't in that one.
You remember all these names?
All the ones that like, I'm like, oh, that would have been so cool to be there that day. And I'm not. So
any Nick or any like New York sports, any New York athlete besides, we know about Eli, but like, I don't know, like was Jeter ever in it or anything? A-Rod?
No, but Amari, during the height of Amari in New York, which was like his first year, was on. Strahan was on. Okay. Mark Teixeira, a couple of Yankees were on. No, there's definitely, obviously some. A-Rod was on. There's some New York love.
All right. Sick. All right. Well, Jerry, now a huge part of your life, and it is it's funny. We had our first live show a few days ago, and our agent was there, and we're like, "Yo, we're podding with Jerry Ferrara. Do you guys?" You know him? And our agent was like, yo, tell him that I fucking love his social media around his kids.
Yeah.
Cause she's just like, I just love watching him be a dad.
Yeah.
The thing about kids
true? Are you trolling me?
This is real. No, this is hand to God. This actually
shout out Marissa at WME.
Yeah.
The thing about kids is that they grow up, and when they grow up, are you excited to be involved in dressing them and helping them get fits off?
Yeah.
Listen.
Or are you a hands-off kind of guy and it's like, go crazy?
Laissez-faire.
Listen, there is nothing hands-off about me as a dad right now. And I don't say that like thinking like I'm doing anything that I shouldn't be doing. It's like what you should do, right?
Right.
The Fitz part is like super frustrating for a while. And I'm learning now.
Diaper
right?
does
like,
not slap.
Find out. Well, no, I find out I'm having like a son. There's just a lot. Jordan's everywhere. Like I'm ready to go. And like, he doesn't give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
About some uncomfortable, clunky, red ones that I want him to wear when he's a year old. Right. Yeah. So he's now almost 2.5. And I've started to weaken his defenses, and he just started like a little Montessori 2-year-old school, right? Whatever, the toddler school. And both my wife and I very much like that first day. Whoo, he was looking good. Second day looking good. I will say though, by like the next week where it's like, we got to get you out of the house. It's like, you're just hoping they have stuff on the right way and is not completely dirty. But no, I cannot wait. Again, I find myself thinking as a dad a lot of like, look, I would love my sons to love sports because I love sports and it'll give us something to talk about. But I don't want him to love it because I love it. I want him to be his own man. If he doesn't, all good. Yeah. Similarly, like I want to whisper to him now, like, dude, if you like Jordans, odds are we're going to be the same shoe size. You have a lot of shit coming to you, bro.
Say, you better pray. You better pray to be a 9.5, man.
And especially my
10.
oldest, like you're going to get to that stuff first.
Yeah.
So if you play your cards right,
Yo, if you like,
have to worry about that.
If you like South Pole or Pelly's, bro.
Yeah. Like Mark Echo.
So like, I am excited also for the time where we could start discussing, what he's going to wear that day. And again, I want him to do what he wants to do and figure it out on his own. But like, I'm here for some suggestions. Right. And
you can EP those fits if you need to.
Exactly. Like, and I'll tell you when you're a son, you look stupid.
Yeah. Right.
Son, you look ridiculous. But you go ahead. You wear.
Do you?
Yeah, sure. Neon all day. Go for it. Go for it.
Jerry, Lawrence and I, our business acumen isn't too sharp. Hence, we are full-time podcasters. We do want to enter the Throwing Fits Business Corner, this section of the podcast, and I will start this off with a direct question, which is just how much money do you make?
Yearly or monthly?
Most guests don't answer regardless. So
I mean, I'm not going to answer, but I'm going to let you think I'm gonna. And to be quite honest, I don't really know. All I know is the shit goes like this. And what you can't see because this is audio is I'm doing a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, right.
Up, down, like, oh wow, made a lot of money. Oh wow, you didn't make any money this year. Oh wow,
dizzying highs, terrifying lows.
Right. Yeah. You made a lot of money this year. Congrats. Oh, you didn't make anything, like nothing. Like you literally didn't make any money. So that's what I could say.
Besides your kids and home life, what do you like to spend your money on when it comes to just treating Jerry? Sneakers still?
Well, we talked about this Herman Miller chair, right?
Yeah.
That was, and maybe it was like pandemic based. I don't know, but I had said to my mom, like, I just, not that I think, oh, we should buy yourself. Like, I don't really spend any money on myself at this point anymore. Like,
sure,
I got lucky. My hobbies are things that are not that expensive. Like the sneaker stuff is a little out of hand, but I don't even really do that as much. I'm a gamer. I love sports. Like, I play a little golf. Like, it's nothing that's like crazy expensive. So, I mean, these days.
What was the last pair of sneakers you bought?
Ooh,
I did buy a pair of like Air Max last week because I just needed something to like run around in that I'm not going to be precious about.
Right.
But like,
when are you going to get your first pair of Monarchs? Become a real fucking dad.
So,
or some New Balances, dude.
Yeah.
Some 990s.
I will say I do find myself like, well, if it's something like, oh, we're doing this with the kids, I'll go when I'm done getting dressed. I'm like, the sneakers are the last part. And I'm like, all right, those cement 3s. I could go Air Jordans. And then I like look at this old beat up pair of Air Max or Air Force Ones that have just taken a beating and still hold up. I'm like, I'm gonna go with those because I know can't have nice things. The way I did the math in my head, I feel like I got, let's see, he's 2 and I feel like it's gonna be about 10 years until I could really like just be like, unless I'm like working or away or whatever. If it's like home life stuff, it's like really get back to like full presentation, like fit is clean because it's just everything's gonna get destroyed.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
And any other fathers who listen to the show, please reach out to me if you have like secrets of how to like. I'm looking for any hacks on this. Whatever you got, let me know because I'm struggling.
But before we leave the business corner, we don't really have a lot of celebs on the show, so we don't really get a chance to do this. But I would just like to say, Jerry, celebritynetworth.com has you at $10 million. So that's I just wanted to relay that information.
Well, we have to believe the internet, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
Who are we if not believers in what the internet says?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I've done very well for myself. I guess.
Thank you for indulging us.
Well, here's two things that I know for sure.
Is that true though? That really?
That's what it has you at, buddy.
Blink twice if they're wildly off in either direction.
Oh wow! Okay, here we go.
Jerry, you have 2 kids. Congrats on the 2 times that you've had sex.
Congrats on the sex, bro.
I'm sure both times are great. The only 2 times. What is, going back to dating in New York, and you mentioned being on a bad date and when you were dating and realizing that you had to stick around for another like 2 hours. Is there like a absolute nightmare worst first date that you can remember?
Well, I actually did tell this story on my old podcast, which is no longer, I mean, it's there, but like we just don't do it anymore. But I told this story, so I shouldn't be afraid.
Okay.
It's there.
Already
it's
out there, dog.
Although, but I feel like your audience is going to be much, much bigger than the audience I told the story.
We have like 18 million listeners.
Do you have more than 18 million listeners?
Yes.
You guys only have 18 mil?
Yeah.
We're young, we're young pod.
I see why you guys aren't making any money yet. I understand. There was a first date that started at a restaurant and then was going to go. There was like, I remember, and it wasn't a bad, like we were having a great time. And I believe it was something like she had to go to like a party, to like a birthday party. And somehow she's like, you should come. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll go hang out with a bunch of strangers. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And she was following me. We were in like separate cars. I was first date. And I remember we were heading to the Valley from LA. So if you don't know, right, it's like you have Hollywood and then there's like 2 ways into the Valley and 2 ways out, right? Always traffic. But this is at night, right? We're good. It's like 10 o'clock.
Is this during the Entourage era?
Yes, okay. This is. And I'm driving, leading the way because I knew where the spot was in the Valley because I lived in the Valley at that point. And we're driving and I got hit with this overwhelming feeling of, oh my God, I gotta go number 2. It's happening. Right.
Take a shit. This is an adult show. You could say, I gotta
take a shit. So how am I going to navigate this? Because I am not one for public, shitting.
Dumpage.
I just like, I'd rather just go home. But like, I'm like, all right, maybe it'll go away. Like sometimes
famous last words. Yeah.
All right. So we're driving. She's following me. And we're going up. It's called Highland Boulevard. There's a very, very famous music venue there called the Hollywood Bowl. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's great outdoor, amphitheater. Amazing, right? Amazing. But what if you live in LA on a Friday night, don't drive along Highland because that's where it is, right? And all the traffic from that is letting out. So I'm driving. I got those feelings coming up.
The bubble guts.
Yeah. Bubble guts coming. I had to put the AC on. I'm like starting to sweat. And then I get up to Highland and it's just brake lights everywhere. No. A sea of red brake lights. And now I'm starting to fucking panic. I got the windows rolled down. I'm white knuckling the steering wheel. I'm shaking. I got the air blowing in anything to distract myself. I think I might have found an old loose cigarette. I'm like, I'll smoke this. Oh no, wait, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, right.
Anything. And then sure enough, now we're in this for like 15, 20 minutes to go 2 miles and we're just inching our way. And then the exact feeling of like, it's happening. I lost all control of the movements and I completely shit my pants in my M45.
Wow.
This is in my M4, it wasn't new at the time. It's probably in year 2. This is my M45 full on. And then the overwhelming feeling of relief.
Yeah, right.
Came, even though it was one of the most embarrassing.
Yeah, that's called rock bottom. You can't go any lower.
But the physical of like the sweat stopped instantly. As I make my way now, I'm like, well, what's the move? And this is like cell phone BlackBerry era, but like it's still not texting, isn't even still. So I'm like,
there's no service in the valley.
No, I got a dip.
Yeah.
So once it cleared up, you have that choice of staying on Highland, which turns into Cahuenga, which is like a casual ride, or you get on the 101 and just book it. I fucking cut across 4 lanes, hit the 101, went 2 exits past my house in case she was still following me, got up, came back around the other way into my garage. And I went I only remember what the fit was, to be honest. Went directly into the shower with my clothes on and a garbage bag and just started peeling off clothes into the garbage bag, showering. And then I walked out to my dumpster and dumped the clothes and obviously never
destroy
saw
the
her
evidence.
Again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like a bad date. Like, oh, I'm having a bad time. Like it was a good date. We were going on to a second location.
Right. Did he follow up with some like apology or make up an excuse? You're just like, it's
nothing. I'm nothing. Zero.
Wow.
And that woman was Charlize Theron.
No. It was Katie Holmes. She married Tom Cruise shortly after.
So that is clearly, most people are like, oh yeah, I was with this guy and he like said some weird shit. No, you actually, the shit was what came out of you.
Yeah. So don't tell me I didn't open up to you guys and kept all the good stuff. Like, all right. I just told you I shit my pants in front of 18 million listeners.
Do you have, I want to ask you this, and this is just me and you in the room. All right. What's your number one piece of advice dating wise, besides don't shit your pants, that you would give to a professional podcast host in his mid-30s? Besides, take your time and blah blah blah. Like,
yeah. Well, I would say, what is this podcast host looking for at the moment? Like, I need a little more detail.
In all the wrong places.
Like, love in all the wrong places. Okay, I will say this. The whole bullshit, and dating in New York's a rom-com, right? And we very much talk about the tropes of like the 90s rom-coms, like Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
You got all the great ones, right? We give homage to all those in this movie. And I will say there's a lot of corny lines and all this bullshit. I will say the one that sticks out that's the most true. When you know, you know.
Ooh.
And that is true. I believe that's true. Not saying that if you're unsure and if you say get married, that means it's not going to work. Not saying that, but like I knew very much early on with my wife, like this is it. Like if it ain't you, it's no one. Like I can't do any better. And like you, you
and me both, brother. I know exactly. Yeah.
The fact that you actually aren't like appalled or repulsed by me, like that's like really in my favor.
I shit my pants, and you still wanted to go on a second date with me.
Yeah, right.
She's the one who encouraged me to tell the story on our podcast. So that's a fucking great story. I don't know why you're not telling that one. Yeah. So I will say when you know, but on
this pod we say a lot. If you know, but there's also this is the other side of it. When you know, James. That's
All right.
Write that down.
I'm going to take that to heart. You are the executive producer of Dating in New York.
So are you looking for love in all the wrong places, James?
Yeah, bro. It's terrible. Mainly in Williamsburg.
Yeah. And okay, well, listen. And also my second son, his name is James. So I have a real connection to you, right?
Fuck yeah.
Not Beautiful. Jimmy. Don't call him Jimmy. Call him James.
Thank you. Jimmy's a character.
Okay. Because we call him Jimmy all the time.
Let me ask you something. As someone who lived in Williamsburg, and I'm in Williamsburg a lot, right?
A good friend of mine lived in the same building as you.
Oh, amazing!
He used to see you a few times.
Yeah, that's the building I was referencing with Michael K. Williams.
Yeah. Like, to be clear, James's friend was not Michael K. Williams. His friend was a lot worse, I'm sure.
I feel like from everything I saw, it must be, even though maybe I know it's rough out there in the streets. I know it. I get it. That's not just unique to your generation or your moment. Like it's rough in the streets forever.
Permanently.
But I will say, to be a young guy or girl, man or woman in Williamsburg, particularly in the summer and fall, even though it could be rough in these here streets, God, I feel like the options are bountiful. No,
that's almost. Is that not part of the problem, bro? Is it you paralyzed by choice?
Is that part? So you say you have two? Oh, you know what, James? I'm calling bullshit on that. Paralyzed by choice?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works that way.
Right.
I do think it could make for some very hard decisions, but it
also makes for some fire content to podcast about. To say that.
Come on, man! I got to hear some of your stories, bro. I got to hear some of your story. We'll make a rom-com on your life next.
Oof, hell yeah! Well, that actually is the perfect. They do call me the transition god, That is a perfect transition, Jerry, into the final portion of the podcast, which is constructive criticism. Obviously, you're doing so fucking well for yourself. This movie that you just EP'd and acted in is in theaters now, on iTunes now, Dating in New York. You're in one of the most popular TV shows of all time, and Power as well. You're doing pretty fucking well for yourself. But if you want some advice from two guys in their mid-30s that do this for a living,
I do.
Do I have a portion of the show for you. All right. First piece to constructive criticism. Yo, you're an EP, successful one at that. You're involved in the Fitz world and the Johns world with, we heard about Jabuki's Wardrobe. Why don't you executive produce the Throwing Fits TV show?
Yeah. We got some pitches out there in La La Land for real.
Are you being for real?
Yeah.
We'll have our people.
Is this scripted or is this unscripted? Is it unscripted?
It's scripted.
It's scripted. You have a.
Well, we don't want to say too much on mic, but
no, don't say too much. But are you being for real?
Yeah. We have a pitch.
We have a one-sheeter, I think.
Yeah, we're working on a treatment.
And I think your agent that you referenced, I believe, is at the same agency that I am at as well.
This is a WME family situation. Okay,
WME
all right.
Productions brings you. No, if you're being serious, I would first of all would love to try and get that going with you. It is definitely I said, I've sold a couple of shows. Right. It's definitely you guys definitely have. I would just love to see. That's why I asked. No,
you have something.
I asked scripted or unscripted because I could kind of see what the unscripted version.
Oh, really?
Well, I think you guys could make a TV version of what you're doing here and blow out even more for TV. But
why don't we discuss? Why don't we discuss this fall? Why don't you bring us to Knicks game courtside?
Yeah.
You want to go right to that? You want to go?
You know how Wahlberg took you to the fight.
Yeah,
you can take us to a Knicks game, and then they'll show you on the jumbotron, and everyone will cheer, and then they'll show us, and everyone will fucking boo, and then we'll take it from there.
How about after we sell the show?
Oh, okay.
As a celebration.
Right. We might have put the cart before the horse.
Because then you guys are going to do the whole thing of I take you to the game, and then we're going to be we're going to do this, and then I find out the next day it's no, we're producing it with someone else. We're doing it with someone else.
We're actually talking to Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There's not really many other options for us, but we would love to. We'll give you the lowdown.
Well, the season starts in October, so we got a month. All right.
Yeah,
we can sell in a month.
Time. Yeah.
I think it's just before Halloween. We got some time. We can work that out. I will say, here's gonna be a fun game for you two. I'm not on TV right now, so I'll get two. Maybe if I'm on a new show, I could get all three of us.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is we're going to have to maybe either split it up or you two are going to have to go Hunger Games battle for who gets it. Because I don't think I'm getting 3 seats at this current moment.
Well, speaking of doing the aggressive expansion scene from The Dark Knight, where you split a fucking pool cue in half and have us
tryouts.
If the EP thing might seem like too big of a commitment, we're looking to grow our squad. We have a bunch of great Groms that work on the show, and we honestly right now could use another weed character. If you want to get on your turtle shit and join our fucking clique, listen, man, there's always a fucking joint for you to roll on our side of the fucking.
I'm down. Let's go.
Let's just hang out.
Listen, I got to embrace the old head thing that's happening here, right?
Yeah,
even
big
with
homie level. Yeah,
even with the Dating in New York movie, I found myself whoa, I'm fucking so much older than everybody. I was the resident old head. Hey, we've never seen this situation. You know who probably has? Hey, Jerry, back in your day, what did you guys do with? So
it's not so much old head. We prefer the big homie. So Jerry, thank you so much for doing the show. This was fucking great. The floor is yours. What do you want to plug? Where can we follow you on Instagram? Go off, King.
No, I think, we talked a lot about Dating in New York. Definitely was a passion project. I think a lot of people, especially your listeners, could relate to. So check that out on iTunes for sure. Look, social media stuff. Jerry Ferrara, like I said, the kid content. I don't know, James or Larry. I don't know which one of you mentioned it. I don't know if I buy what you're saying when you're agent, because
this was
straight from Marissa's mouth.
Agents are lying scum of the earth, but she seemed to be telling the truth.
Yeah, she seemed genuine.
Let me, all right, I guess wrapping up, and I guess this is something that I need some help with, right? Because I think this factors in with fatherhood and also pandemic stuff, right? I have no fucking idea what to post anymore. I used to be funny, witty. Like I used to have like, nowadays it's like, it's either like all shit to me is like such a bummer, or it's like, I'm only with these kids right now. Because where else can I go? It's not like we're like traveling to Hawaii, be like, hey,
right.
look at,
bro, if
we're home, we're here.
If you went into the archives and you unboxed some old turtle fits, and I'm not saying like put them on and play dress up, but if you're just like, yo, this fucking jersey, when I remember when this episode and like this was the cameo and whatever. First of all, that'd just be amazing. Secondly, I think that would just like bring a lot of new fans in. In terms of the feed, so that's like story and TikTok as well. In terms of the feed, fit pics, bro.
Yeah,
we know you have the Johns.
Yeah.
You're good. You look fucking great. I know that you posted a clip of I forget what announcer, but they're like, wow, Jerry Ferrara does not age. This man still looks like a fucking, driving around a Maserati in 2004 or whatever. Fit pics.
Yeah, I guess it's like the stuff with the kids, right? Because that's where my mind is. And I post it and then I'm like, God. And I remember being a younger guy without kids being like, God, all this person does is post shit about their kids. Like, we get it. Your kids are super
We
cute.
get it. You get it, bro. Congrats.
And now
you had sex.
I'm doing that and I can't stop.
I mean, you're just
can't stop doing it.
You had sex twice and you're so proud of it. It's understandable. One day I'll get to that number, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man. But listen, I hope we could chat offline and I could be friend of the show.
Absolutely.
Big homie.
Absolutely, Jerry. Thank you for coming on to the only podcast that matters. You're officially one of the big homies. Chef, I'm going to need you to slap on that good life.
I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I'ma get on the TV, mama. I'ma push it down. Hey, 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 hey. Welcome to the good life. When niggas are COD, won't even get pulled over in they new V. The good life. Let's go on a living spree. Shit, they say the best things in life are free. The good life. It feel like Atlanta. It feel like LA. It feel like Miami. It feel like NY. Summertime shy. Now throw your hands up in the sky. So I roll through good. Y'all pop the trunk. I pop the hood. Ferrari. And she got the goods. And she got that ass. I got to look sorry. Yo, it's got to be, cause I'm seasoned. Haters give me them salty looks. Lowry's 50 told me don't hate, switch the style up. And if they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up. The good life. I go for mine, I got to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine, I got to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I'ma get on the TV, mama. I'ma push it down. Hey, hey. Welcome to the good life, where we like the girls who ain't on TV, cause they got more ass than the model.